Okay, so I met my boy, my friend Bo Ellis back in 2000 something, and I think we're either right before or right after you won 2005 Poet of the Year. We got to hanging out, right? I called him one day and we get to chit chatting. He told me he was gonna drive to Detroit. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll roll with you, right? Now you know Detroit is a 12 to 14 hour drive depending on how you drive. So we get on the road, we cruising up. Damn, I don't even know what freeway that is. Going up north somewhere, right? Where once you get about halfway, you can tell the difference between the areas where it's cold and the areas where it's not cold, right? So I'm thinking we're gonna go to Detroit, do some shows, go to Belle Isle, meet some girls, whatever the case is, right? And none of that happened. So we on the road and we were having a conversation about something. We started disagreeing, and I could tell Bo was getting a little upset. I'm not sure, and he kind of put me out on the road a little bit, but only for a second. He sped up the road, then he came back, right? Anyway, we go to, well, we pass Detroit, we go to Saginaw, and he drops me off. Now I'm thinking, what happened with the shows? I didn't do any shows in Detroit because I was in Saginaw and Bo went to Detroit. So I guess the plan was that he would come back and pick me up when he got back. So I had to find a show to do in my hometown, which was okay, but not necessarily what I planned, right? So I get there and I called my grandmother, told her I would, come visit and all that type of stuff. So I get there and now I haven't talked to my grandmother hadn't talked to my grandmother in a long time. So I get there, she's like, "Oh, baby, I'm so happy to see you." Blah, 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 blah. I was like, "Okay." So I was trying to connect with my cousins and some of my family members, and I get that speech right now. When you haven't been in your hometown in a long time, either you're known really well or you're a stranger. So my grandmother says like, don't go down them streets. Don't go around so and so. Stay right around here. Which basically meant stay right in front of the house or in the house. Don't cut any corners. Don't hang out with this person. Don't go here. Don't go there. Don't do anything, right? So, of course, I didn't listen because I'm thinking, yeah, this is my family. These are my friends, whatever. So we go to a club. It was one of those little hole in the wall clubs, like the Dungeon or the something like that, the Dragon's Dungeon or something like that. Even the name had a creepy tone, right? So we get to the club, we hanging out. I mean, there's not a lot of beautiful women, and we stayed for a little while, and then we left. Next thing you know, some guys just outside, like, wham, 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 just shooting off in the air, right? Nobody was bothering them. Nobody was arguing with them. It was just no apparent reason whatsoever. And so we quickly got in the car. And at that point, I knew that it was time for me to go. Maybe I'd only been there a day or 2 days. And, I was like, okay, this is my cue to get out of here. So I called Bo, and he wasn't picking up his phone. And at this point, I'm getting a little bit antsy, right? I'm trying to figure out, okay, Do I? I'm not sure. I'm just pretty much ready to go, right? So I'm telling my grandmother, well, I'm telling my family members that my ride is not answering the phone. So they start getting a little bit antsy and got a little bit weird. Not just weird, but weird in the sense that I guess, sending off the vibe that it was time for me to leave. So nonetheless, I think on the last hour, something like that, Bo came to pick me up, and we got back on the road, and we drove back to Atlanta. Now, mind you, my intention wasn't necessarily to go home, but to go to Detroit and do some shows and go to Belle Isle and meet some girls, and none of that happened. But I ended up doing a show in my hometown, I guess with a family member or with some family members, which was okay. And then just the vibe of me being there for a short period of time, I did what I needed to do, and then we pretty much got on the road. And because I didn't really get to do what I wanted to do, we didn't really speak a whole lot long. Well, on the ride back home. Now, mind you, that's a 14-hour ride, so we had to stop and eat, stop for gas, and pretty much keep each other company for the duration of the ride. Actually, without, I'm sure he wasn't. Maybe he was upset with me, but I wasn't upset with him. I was just upset with the fact that I didn't get to go and do what I intended to do on this 14-hour drive. So made it back to Atlanta, and we didn't speak for a minute, but I guess we still cool. Who knows?